Travelling in Iceland can be one of the greatest experiences you can have. But this beautiful and rugged landscape also contains some difficulties and dangers for the driver. Difficulties and dangers you might not have come across in other countries.
We're going to show a few examples of what to bear in mind when driving in Iceland so as to avoid these hazards and have an accident-free trip.
You should remember this sign because it tells you when you are approaching a gravel road, which can be extremely dangerous.
One of the special features of driving in Iceland is that you are likely to have to use gravel roads at times. In certain conditions, this can be dangerous unless you take special precautions.
If your car starts sliding in loose gravel, it is vital not to panic and to know how to react in the right way. Don't jam the brakes on hard, or at least not so hard that the wheels will lock, because otherwise something like this could happen.
If you are driving a car with a manual gear change, the best thing is to push down the clutch and turn the steering wheel gently in the same direction as the car is pulling. Don't let the clutch in until you have regained complete control of the car. It is very important to turn the steering wheel gently. Don't jerk it suddenly. But best of all, to avoid this kind of situation, go slowly. When we look at reports and studies of road accidents in Iceland, we find that the most common cause of accidents is speeding, driving too fast in terms of the local conditions. Speed limits on traffic signs should be taken as a guideline, telling you the maximum speed permitted under the best possible conditions. On surface roads outside built-up areas, this limit is generally 90 km per hour, unless other limits are shown. In built-up areas, on the other hand, the normal limit is 50 km per hour, unless other limits are shown.
There are three things to bear in mind when you meet oncoming traffic on gravel roads. First, the speed limit on gravel roads is 80 km per hour instead of 90. Remember, though, that this maximum speed applies only in the best possible conditions. Second, gravel roads are often narrower than surfaced roads, so it is important to slow down and move well over to the side of the road when you meet another car. And thirdly, there is often a danger that the tyres will lose their grip of the road in patches of loose gravel or stones, which often occur on gravel roads.
In many places in Iceland, you will come across dangerous blind rises and blind corners. Normally, these are marked with special traffic signs. You should take special care when you see these signs. When you come to a blind rise, slow down and move as close as is safe to the edge of the road, because you don't know if you are likely to meet a small car or a large vehicle coming the other way. The same applies on blind corners. Reduce speed and move well over. Many of the bridges over rivers and streams in Iceland are only wide enough for a single line of traffic. The general rule is that the car that comes to the bridge first has the right of way, but it can easily happen that drivers misjudge the situation. If you drive slowly, take a few moments to look carefully and show consideration. It should be possible to avoid problems on narrow bridges. A large number of deaths in traffic accidents in Iceland occur because people do not use seatbelts. These deaths could easily have been avoided. In Iceland, you're required by law to use seatbelts. This applies not only to the driver, but also to passengers, no matter whether they are in the front or the back of the car. The weather in Iceland can change very rapidly, switching from fine and calm to raging gales with rain or snow in a matter of hours, with serious consequences for road traffic. It is therefore very important to check the weather forecast, especially if you're going to remote areas where there is not much other traffic.
You can find weather reports and forecasts online or telephone 902 0600. You can find information on road conditions online or telephone 1779 and press 3. It is also important to make sure that the car you are driving is suitable for use on minor roads and tracks, especially on high ground, and to check whether it is insured for driving in difficult conditions.
Please note that all off-road driving is strictly prohibited and that your insurance can become invalid if you drive off the road.
Many serious accidents happen because drivers do not realise in time the dangers that may result from animals straying onto the road. If you see animals on or near the road, slow down and make sure you know which way they are likely to move. Remember, they are not skilled road users and can easily panic and jump suddenly in front of your car.
All drivers are legally obliged to use daytime running lights all round the clock, all year round.
This video has touched on some of the main points to remember when driving on Iceland's roads and dealing with some of the situations you are likely to encounter.
Being prepared for these situations could make the difference between life and death. We should like to ask you to think about them and also remember to use common sense, consideration and patience when driving in Iceland. Drive safely and have a great trip.